So every thought you think is sending out a vibration. Every thought. Think of it this way. You have a telephone, right? A wireless telephone, cell phone, and there's no wires. How does the information of your voice, your cadence, your tone, your words, your thoughts travel through space and download to someone in Singapore? It's all through energy called a wave. It has amplitude, which is how high does it go. It has frequency, which is how often does it go up and down. That's basically it, okay? And so that wave is encoded with information. And every time you think a thought, there is a wave that goes out that's encoded with that information that has an impact on the ethers, they would call it in physics, on the cosmic force field, the zero-point field, the quantum field, what we call God, source, infinite intelligence, you know, all those names we have for that same thing depending on our culture and our religious background. And we can send this information through what a friend of mine calls the internet. We all know about the internet, right? We've used the internet. You go on Google and Yahoo and so forth. But the internet says, I can send a thought. We now know from research with astronauts a minimum of 250,000 miles. How do we know that? We send astronauts up on the moon, or lunar orbiting up there, and they're asked to open up envelopes at a predetermined time. They can shuffle them, pick a number, envelope 7. They open it up. There's a form in there, like a square, a circle, a triangle, a pentagon, whatever it is. And then they focus on that and think about it for a minute. They put it back in, record what it was, and they go about their business. They're doing lots of experiments all day long up there. Meanwhile, at that same time, there are students gathered at Duke University in what they call the Parapsychology Center, and they close their eyes, and they try to pick up what it is the astronaut's thinking about. And they have an uncannily high, connection. So we know that thought can travel a minimum of 250,000 miles. Now, thought, we know from Deepak Chopra's writings, he's studied this quantum physics, actually is what they call non-locality. It's here and then it's there. It didn't even travel in between. How does that happen? It's somehow through this quantum field, it just disappears here and shows up there. And we see that with particles and so forth. So we know that your thoughts have that ability to just be here and be there. And we also know that if you have, I believe you're her daughter, is that correct? Okay. So you have a relationship that's bonded and important. Some of you are sitting next to your spouse and so forth. Anytime you've had an interaction with somebody, you've created a resonant relationship, such that if she were over in Europe and had an automobile accident, you might wake up at that exact moment in the middle of the night and go, something happened to my daughter. How would you know? They didn't send a telegram, but we see that happening all the time. There was a study done with baby rabbits. This is a terrible study, but they did it in Leningrad. They took baby rabbits, put them in a submarine, and took them down around Australia. They're way under the water, where they can't even get radio communication. And at random intervals, decided by a computer, they actually kill these baby rabbits. So that's why I said it's a terrible experiment. Now, the mother rabbit's back in the laboratory in Leningrad, and every time one of those baby rabbits is killed, all of her EEG, EKG, galvanic skin response, heart rate, respiration rates go crazy. So we know that, we don't know if she's conscious of it or unconscious of it, but we know she has picked up something's wrong. Something happened. That signal went through the cosmos and got there, okay? And I'll show you some other things later that are even equally interesting with all that. But it's sending out a vibration, and it seems to be, it travels faster than light, or just boom, it's there, and we know it goes at least 250,000 miles, which means any thought you're thinking on Earth, you're sending out what I call a mass email, spam, to the entire planet, okay? And so like I say, gee, I'd like to create a movie about how to end welfare in California. And all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, I'm on an airplane and someone says, hi, and I say, what do you do? She said, I run the welfare department for California. In a way, she's saying, I got your email. Okay? So people are responding, but it's not like they just pick up the phone and say, hi, I got your email. They show up as an opportunity. And a lot of us miss the opportunity. One of the trainings I took recently asked me to think this, is that everyone that comes into your life is there for a purpose. And ask yourself, what's the opportunity that this person is? What need are they bringing into my life that they could possibly fulfill? Now I see everyone as a potential gift to me rather than as someone who's bugging me, interrupting me, etc. What's the opportunity that this is? Even when I have an event that seems like it's off purpose. I'm running through the airport and my briefcase opens and everything fills on the floor. I say, oh, what fun. It's another thing I learned from juggling. When you drop the ball, you don't go, oh, damn. You go, oh, what fun. It changes your attitude. And then I say, what's the opportunity that this is? I may have missed my flight, and then on the next flight, I'm sitting next to someone who could change my life. You know, you get the idea? It's all orchestrated in your behalf. It's a beneficent universe that will deliver to you what you order, but you got to take responsibility for what you're ordering, because you're sending out these cosmic work orders to the universe every time you have a thought. Which means you should get very clear about what? What you're thinking. And become a deliberate creator rather than a reactionary thinker. Most of your thoughts are in reaction to what's happening outside of you instead of in, what am I saying? Instead of deliberately creating that which is that you want to create. I was just in New York the other day with John Assaraf, who's in the movie The Secret. And we were doing a workshop for Remax, which he was a member of, as you remember. And we were co-leading this. And one of the things he said I thought was really interesting. He said, you know, the things that's stopping us are our beliefs. So the question is, a lot of us are going, well, what's my negative belief that's stopping me? He said, it's irrelevant. Don't even think about it. Don't worry about it. Just ask yourself the following question. I thought this was really interesting. He said, think about, we were asking everyone there to double their income in 1 year. We're saying, oh, if you could do that, would that be good? Now, yeah. And we're in a down market with the credit crunch and, you know, all that stuff that's going on because of the subprime loan problem. And there are still people, there's one guy in the room, had increased his sales 500% in the last 6 months. Now, so we said, what belief do you think he has to have that might be different than your belief? What beliefs does he have about the market? What beliefs does he have about his ability to produce results no matter what's going on in the market? What beliefs does he have about his ability to sell? What beliefs does he have about his ability to fulfill people's needs, which is all you're ever doing when you're selling, if you're ethical? And we went on. And so think about, what belief would I have to pull that off? If I was going to do that, what would I have to believe that I don't believe now? Do you think that Tiger Woods has a different set of beliefs than maybe some guy who didn't make the pro cut? I would bet you he's talking to himself differently. You know, you look at, if you study Tony Robbins' work, you've seen him on TV, he talks a lot about modeling people. You find someone who's already doing what you want to do, and you model them. What does that mean? You think the kind of thoughts they think. You visualize the kind of things they're visualizing. You do the things they do. You want to get thin? Find some thin person and just do what they do. If you're overweight, you're going to find they're not eating as much as you. And you're going to find they're eating different things than you. And you're going to find they stop eating after 8:30 more than likely. You're going to find that they are doing something to bring up their metabolism. They're getting up in the morning and going for a 30-minute run or a walk or whatever it might be. They're exercising more. So, you know, you can model people, but the big thing you've got to model is, what is their mindset? So there's three things that control you in life: your mindset, your skill set, and your environments. And you have to take control of those things. Your mindset is all we're talking about tonight. Law of attraction, your mind. Your skill sets. You might have a lot of desire to be a doctor, but if you don't go to school and learn how to wield a scalpel, you're not going to be a heart surgeon. And then there's environments. Your environments control you. If you don't have a good filing system, it can cost you hours looking for things. That's an environment. If your office is a total mess and you can never find anything, that's an environment. The people you hang out with, your network, is an environment. Your physical space in your living room, in your bedroom, is an environment. I remember working with a woman in a seminar once, and she had her whole bed, except for this much, was covered with books. And then she said, you know, there's never a man in my life. Like, where would he fit, you know? It's amazing what we do. And so, you know, the old idea, you got to throw out stuff to make space for the new. If your closet's full of clothes you never wear, you're not going to attract in new clothes. There's no space for them. So you want to give away what you don't need, what doesn't fit, what you're never going to wear again. And if you're saying, well, I'm not giving away that, those are my fat clothes. In case I ever get fat again, I don't want to have to go buy new clothes. What are you saying? You're saying, I expect to be fat again, right? So a lot of subtlety with this, but you know, you start to see how it all fits together. All right, so every thought sending out a vibration. We talked about the 0-point field. It activates it, and then it attracts to you. Now, to be clear about this, you may want a, let's call it, we'll say a Lexus, or we're in the Detroit area, I'll say a Cadillac. We need to be locally, politically correct here. So you want an American-made luxury car. Now, here it is. You want it. That's great. You may not attract a Cadillac, but what you may attract is someone that will hire you as a consultant for 6 months that will allow you to have the extra income to manifest the Cadillac. You will attract experiences, opportunities, strategies, books, articles, people saying, come to Jack's workshop. You ended up here somehow. You attracted this experience into your life. You attracted this organization, the email, the friend that said, why don't you go with me? You know, because in some way it's going to help you achieve something that's important to you. And the God source, the 0-point field, is out ahead of you. It's up here. See, like right now, you can see a certain part of the room, but if you were up in the ceiling, you could see the whole room. And so the universe, if you want to call it that, is up there. It sees it all. And so it knows, I want to get to work on time. And all of a sudden, it can see 6 miles down the road, if you take, the 105, you're going to hit a traffic jam. And then you get this inner impulse. It says to you, hey, why don't you get off at this exit, go to Starbucks, get some coffee, and take the service road. And you're going, well, that's kind of a weird thing. Let me have coffee at work. And if you honor it, you end up getting to work early. If you don't, you go, what's this traffic jam? How do I get into this mess, right? So you'll get something will help you out, but it won't always be like, here's some tickets to the Olympics. Sometimes it happens. It happened for me. I said, I want to go to the Olympics. And it was literally like a week later, once I made the commitment, looked at the calendar, saw when it was, saw what was going on around, that I had the time, made the commitment, talked to my wife, said, I want to go. She said, I have no interest whatsoever to go to China, to sit in a bunch of sports things. She doesn't like to watch them. She likes to do them. And so I said, fine, I'll take my son. That's great. You guys need to bond. Okay, call my son. He's the one to go. Week later, I'm walking into a conference. It's a multi-level marketing company that hired me as a motivational speaker for their conference. And I'm literally walking over to the table where they give you the microphone, and the guy walks up to me and says, he's Chinese looking. He walks over to me and goes, hi, are you Jack Canfield? I said, yeah. He said, have you ever spoken in China? I said, I've spoken in Hong Kong, but not the mainland. He said, would you like to? I said, absolutely. He said, I can arrange that. Then I said, what I really want to do is get some tickets to the Olympics for my son and I. He said, oh, that's no problem. My brother works for the government. I can get that for you. No. So sometimes it will happen like that, okay? But sometimes it takes a little longer. And sometimes, a lot of times we go like, I should have it by now. It didn't show up by now, but it will show up. But you have to be patient. And you also have to look at, it doesn't always show up wrapped in the clothes that you think it's going to show up in. It comes as an opportunity. It comes as a connection. It comes as an invitation to go somewhere. And you've got to honor that, trust your intuition. All right.